I mean, for example, in 3 John verse 2, it is written, I wish above all things that you will prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. You cannot claim that you are free. Indeed, if you have problems, physical, if we're in bondage, physical, you are in bondage, material, and you are in bondage, spiritual. To be free indeed, you must not be in bondage, physical. You must not be in bondage, material. You must not be in bondage, spiritual. For example, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are, if you are sick, you are in bondage. I mean, you might be the richest man on earth, but if today you have a sickness or a disease that requires urgent attention and continuous attention of the doctor in ICU, you will be tied down in the hospital. I mean, you remember the story of the man in John chapter 5, from verse 2 to 9. John 5, from verse 2 to 9. A man who had an incurable disease. And only once in a while, once a year, an angel will come and trouble a certain water. And the first fellow to get into the water will be healed. There were many of them there. They couldn't go home because they don't know when the angel will come. They were in bondage. You know the story of Naaman in 2 Kings chapter 5 from verse 1 to 14. In 2 Kings 5 from verse 1 to 14, he was a successful general. He was famous. He was wealthy, but he was a leper. And that single bolt destroyed every other thing. He was in bondage. Oh, as wealthy as he was, he couldn't embrace his children. Until God stepped in. You cannot say you are free indeed if you are poor. Now, I know some people don't want to hear us talk about you prospering. But if you are poor, it's not going to be long before you realize Proverbs 22 verse 7. Proverbs 22 verse 7 says, the borrower is a servant to the lender. If you borrow, if you are owing the bank, and you say you are free, who is deceiving who? Because the borrower is a servant to the lender. Mortgage, you have a house. You're not the owner of the house. You haven't paid the mortgage. Can come. You're not the owner of the house. It's the bank. The bank can come any day and say they want to claim that house from you. I mean, you know the story in 2 Kings chapter 4, from verse 1 to 7. 2 Kings 4, from verse 1 to 7. It's the story of the widow of a son of the prophet. She was a child of God. But she was bankrupt. And when the creditors came, they said, you don't pay our money by tomorrow, we will sell your 2 sons into slavery to recover our money. You are not free if you are poor. You are not free indeed if you are poor. And when you consider Daniel chapter 4, you can read the whole chapter, Daniel chapter 4, from the beginning to the end. And you find out the story of Nebuchadnezzar. He was a king. In fact, he was the greatest king of his time. Wealthy, powerful. But when something went wrong and he lost his mind. Of what use was all his wealth? If they call him Your Majesty, it would probably be the animals talking, because he was eating with them. I pray for every one of you today. Physically, you will be free. It took stripes to make sure that by his stripes you might be healed. So if there's any of us who are already born again and you are in any form of sickness, today, in the name that's above every other name, that wonderful name of Jesus, receive your healing. When he saves your soul, he makes sure that your needs will be met from now on. Philippians chapter 4, verse 19. Philippians 4:19 says, but my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. But